Hi everyone, and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. As you can see, I'm joined by Craig and Louis. Craig, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Suffering a little bit of a cold, so I apologise if you can hear that in my voice. But I'm going to do my best to power through. Could have easily skived off after Braintree's defeat yesterday as well. But I'm here and I'm standing up nice and proud.
You're fronting up, mate. We appreciate it. Fronting it up, we appreciate it. Louis, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, much better, mate. The fever I had the other day is worn off now. None of that FA Cup fever anymore. So yeah, all good, buddy.
Yeah, to be fair, I was thinking that's maybe what Craig had, the fever. But maybe that's what's wrong with Craig. But yeah, so obviously we mentioned it there. We're going to be discussing some of the FA Cup games, but obviously we're a National League podcast, so we're going to talk about the National League games of the weekend. We're going to get straight into them. Bit of a controversial game, Morecambe 0, Boston 3. Bit of a rift between the fan base and the manager. Things that we've seen on social media, some choice words exchanged potentially. He's got to be under pressure now. For me, I don't know how he's still in the job at time of recording. It might happen. I don't know. Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, so I watched this one. Billed it as the game of the weekend myself as well, and it was a game that Boston couldn't lose, and they went and just did a complete away performance. They did the number on Morecambe. Let John Lewis ran the show. Proper strikers finished for his first goal, set up the second one. And yeah, massive 3 points for Boston. I don't think that can be underestimated. Obviously, they had a really poor November. But yeah, exactly what the doctor ordered for them. They got their revenge on the 4-0 defeat that they had up at the home tie against Morecambe as well. And yeah, I think that they're looking upwards now. I think they tend to pick up points randomly, get these random wins that they can keep their head above water kind of thing. And yeah, looking back, they're 50% of their defeats have been by one goal, so they're usually in games. And they're just clinical. Yesterday, I think Coughlin said that in his post-match. But yeah, I mean, where do you start with Morecambe? It's a sense of deja vu again. Their manager post-match is just, you may as well just put it on repeat. I don't think he's actually filming it. I think they're just putting the same one out every week, probably. I think the biggest worry I have for Morecambe is they went 3-0 down at half time and they came out and they just didn't lay a glove on Boston. And, Boston looked like the likely team to score in the second half. And that's a big worry, I think. If your manager's giving the halftime team talk and they're not coming out and performing or creating chances or at least putting any pressure on, really worrying. So yeah, as you say, it's hard to see where they go from here, whether they carry on with him or not. I think the experiment is failing, but we'll just have to see what happens with them.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's not here, so I'll say it on his behalf. Mark's obviously mentioned numerous times about the comments about judges the end of October. We're going to be playing the best brand of football, that type of thing. Well, we're in, getting to the middle of December-ish, and they're probably playing worse now than they've played most of the season so far. So I think you're right, the experiment hasn't worked. And I just think what you mentioned about his post-match press conference as well and things like that, where he reminds me a lot of Mike Williamson at Carlisle last season, where every interview was the same. Like, again, I don't know if there's a correlation between all the coaching badges and all that kind of stuff, but just for me, it's like they can talk a good game, they can cover things well and speak well, but then when they put it into practice on the pitch, it doesn't match up, and I think that's what the fans can't get behind. Like I say, I remember last year you'd listen to Mike Williamson saying things, and you'd be like, right, fair enough, he's good analysis, he's come out with some really good things there. Let's see a difference next week, and if anything, it got worse the week after. So then when the words aren't matching the performances, it's not a good sign. And yeah,
It seems like the in-game management of situations just isn't there. And as much as you can coach a team all you want on the coaching field in training, but in the week previously, he can be as good as that as he wants. But if he can't sort out his team on the pitch in half time, in moments in games, they are going to struggle and they are going to face back-to-back relegations if they're not careful. And that just, yeah, it could scupper them really badly because it's hard enough getting out of the National League. But if you drop to regionalised football, it's just the money's not there. It's a different ball game. Again, there's only two promotion places. They're in real trouble, that club, and they do need to be careful. After everything they went through, they didn't think it could get any worse, but it can.
It can. Let's do a Mick McCarthy quote. It can. Craig, I know you're full of cold, mate. So just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think you guys have summed it up really well. We talk about his position as the manager. I think with the fans, I think it's gone. I think it's almost untenable now. I think it's a matter of time for them. But they don't make the decisions the board do, and they've been pretty quiet about this. they've had their off-field issues this week as well. It's not been a plain sailing week for Morecambe. In terms of the game, I think it was pretty level for the first 20 minutes, but the minute they conceded, it felt like that was it. And they concede in clusters so often. And like Louis said, they came out in the second half with such a whimper that actually it was become so routine for Boston that it was just an easy win. And you can't be giving teams in and around you an easy 3-0 win at home. And for that, they are banging trouble, as you guys have said. And something's got to change. And it feels like that change is inevitable. But from the boardroom, it doesn't seem like it's coming too soon. So the fans need it, the players need it because they look devoid of confidence as well. But ultimately, it's the boardroom that makes the decision, and they don't seem to be budging on this experiment at the moment, but they will need to soon, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And just what you mentioned there as well about conceding in clusters. How many times have we seen it this season as well? Like I remember the Gateshead game in particular, where there was a 4-0 down in 15 minutes or something. Like this is a recurring thing. It's not a normal thing in football where teams at home are 3-0 down after so many minutes or whatever. Like it's not something that happens very often. But when it's happening to the same team on a regular basis, I don't know how people are watching it and not thinking that there's something wrong. But what do we know, lads? We podcast. We don't make the big boy decisions. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Maybe it's just their plaything for their mate at the moment. They're not taking it maybe as serious as they should do. That seems to be a bit of the thing coming out of Morecambe.
Could be.
This ain't just an experiment to see how your mate does. This is people's livelihoods. This is our club. And I've seen some people, probably in rash in the moment, saying maybe it's better we just fail to exist and become a Phoenix club and come back on our own terms. But that's very drastic measures. And like I said, probably heat in a moment. But yeah, there's a lot of unrest down at Morecambe at the moment, and something definitely needs to change.
Yeah, I know I commented on the post the other day about the off the field issues and stuff, and just saying that I feel sorry for the supporters. At the end of the day, they've been through enough. They've been through enough, and it just seems to when it rains, it pours. It's just one thing after another. They must be so exhausted and stressed and tired with it all. Hopefully, it does turn around for them soon. But I don't see it turning around unless they change manager personally. Next up, we've got Aldershot 2, Altrincham 1. John Coleman getting his first win, friend of the podcast. Podcast went out last week, so if you haven't watched that, please check it out. We could have sat and listened to John for hours and his stories in football and stuff. Unfortunately, we had to cut it short after a little while, just because obviously, he's not got like 6 hours spare to tell us all his stories. But there was some good ones in there if you want to watch that. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yes, it's one that was well and truly needed for Aldershot, and it didn't look like it was going to happen for a long time. Altrincham looked pretty comfortable ahead. It was a fairly even game again. I don't think any game other than, unfortunately for me, the one my team was in was too one-sided this weekend. They were all pretty even, and Altrincham took the lead, but then again, Aldershot just turned it in their favour and showed that character. And after speaking to John, you can probably see why he gets his teams working so hard and that never say die attitude and just his love of football. They seem to have bought into it a little bit there. It's still taking time. Obviously, we're not going to say, oh, everything's rosy there because it's the first win in a long time. But they scored 2 quick goals and then managed to kind of see the game out. And for them, they were getting cut adrift with Truro. So it's a very, very important 3 points for them to just get themselves away from the bottom of the table and hopefully for them push up and get out the relegation places. But yeah, it's only one win, so don't get too excited. But it was due, it was needed, and can it be the start of something for them?
Yeah, you'd like to think so for them. I thought Tyler Frost's winner was a really great goal. I watched it last night and I seen it. I was like, wow, what a goal! Especially like when you think of it was last minute, big moment. Aldershot needed the win, massive goal and probably a goal of the month contender already. And we're only 7 days in, so keep an eye out for that one at the end of the month. Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, you'd love to have been in that terrace behind the goal, watching that go in like right in front of you. Especially given this their first one since the 20th of September. So yeah, long overdue for them. Josh Barrett came back into the side for this one after he's been out with illness and injury, I think, and I think he's quite a crucial player for them. I've said on previous pods I don't know where their goals are coming from, and I think he's just a key cog in their sort of attacking style and attacking play because he's such a good player once he gets going. Scored a crux of goals from them last year as well. So yeah, really key for them to get him back. And yeah, Coleman said everything that you said already. He said one swallow doesn't make a summer. They need to build on it. Hopefully they don't. We've got them on Boxing Day. but yeah, they need to get a run going because they are being cut adrift. And if they, if that one win gets consigned to history, they will be cut adrift again in a couple of weeks. For Altrincham, they're just a bag of rebels at the moment. You don't really know what you're going to get with them. But I'm not 100% sure whether they have fully turned around that form that they had under Parkinson, because you look at the wins that they've had. They had the win against Boston, and Boston missed a penalty. And from looking at the stats, Boston seemed to win that game, or have a load of chances in that game. And then they play Truro and Brackley, who can't buy a win and can't score a goal for fun at the moment. And their next three fixtures are Rochdale, Halifax, who maybe are coming back into a bit of form potentially, and York. So yeah, and obviously that Scunthorpe win, it was a mad last 7 minutes. So yeah, Altrincham, I think judge them at the end of the calendar year, and we'll see where they are. But yeah, massive win for Aldershot, and they need to build on it now.
Yeah, definitely need to build on it. Next up, sadly for Craig, we've got Halifax 4, Braintree 0. Obviously, big win for Halifax. Louis alluded to it a little bit there, just saying they look like they may be coming into a bit of form again. Braintree, to be fair, they've been in decent form as of late, picking up results, picking up draws, picking up wins. It's just the manner of it being 4-0, I think, is more concerning. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, it was fully disturbed by Halifax. I'm not going to come on here and say that we were fantastic and we were robbed or anything like that. There was one team levels above the other in this game, and Halifax deserved it. We talked about momentum and form before the game, and Braintree maybe having that, but Halifax came out the stronger side. I was watching bits of it on telly and following it on Twitter as well. I wasn't able to go, and even on the Braintree social sides, it seemed chance Halifax. It seemed our goalie was potentially our best player. On that note, we were missing Marshall Miranda. He's picked up 10 bookings this season already, so was missing. He, if you ever look through last season, I believe he got the most in the league last season. He picks up his fair share and a few other people's fair shares of yellow cards as well throughout the season. But he's so crucial to our midfield. He brings that bite, which ultimately does end up in getting yellow cards. But we missed him so much, and Babbitt's dropped back deeper when I think he'd been so influential in that 10. So it shows that the lack of depth maybe in that position, that we couldn't just bring in another midfielder and change it around. We brought in Cooper back from his ban. He played the 10. Babbitt's dropped back, and it didn't quite work. The connections weren't there. So it's a big shame for us there. But like you said, because we've been on good form, you can maybe let these ones slide a little bit more. Be concerned about the manner of performance and pray it doesn't continue. But Truro was a great result. Morecambe was a great result. Scunthorpe's point was a good result. That ultimately this one can just be a blip if we then pick up on the other side of it. Obviously, quite a few days now into the next game, which is Hartlepool at home. Next two games are at home, Hartlepool and Southend. Two really tough games, but home games that we can potentially get something out of. I'd back us at home against both of them sides a lot more than I would away. So hopefully we can get something from them, and this can become that little blip that we've talked about. But yeah, even Steve Pitt came out in the post-match press conference and said that we were nowhere near good enough today. And I think that says everything. And I'll let you guys sing the praise of Halifax on this one, as I've talked of the negatives of Braintree.
I mean, obviously, just mentioning Braintree there, I think, like you mentioned there about the Truro result and things like that, like the teams around you, they're the games Braintree need to be winning. As long as you're winning them, I think you can overlook these kinds of results, personally. As far as Halifax go, they had a poor start to the season. They went on that run. I think it 6 wins in a row they were on at one point, then they fell off again, and then now they seem to be picking up again. It is a bit of a roller coaster with them, isn't it, Louis?
Yeah, as you say, I mean, I don't think you can be a bad side if you win 6 on the bounce in this league and you go and win it. Top of the league, Rochdale, get a point against York. Like you're not a bad side. I don't know whether they had injuries in their blip that they've had, but yeah, it was a bad run of form in November for them. But hopefully, for their sake, they can turn it around, and this can be sort of the starting point for them. In Army, is it in midfield? Seems to be the linchpin for them. He's always at the front of their attacking play. They're just going to have to hope that no EFL clubs can swoop in January, because he's had a very good start to the season. And yeah, they're hopefully going to look upwards now. I saw it was their lowest crowd of the season. They only had like 1,088 or something. So it's one of those with that club. Obviously, we spoke to Luke previously when he came on, giving a Halifax perspective. yeah, the club will have to hope that their performances can pick up and they can bring the fans back in, because 1,080 is not a great attendance for a town and a club as big as Halifax.
That's higher than our average at Braintree, though.
Said from behind the wall there. Craig just yeah.
No comment.
But yeah, the like I say, the attendance is concerning. But 4-0 wins at home will hopefully bring people back. You know, we can't do much more than that at home than trying to bring them back. So let's see what happens there. Next up, we've got Forest Green 1, Solihull Moors 1. Obviously, I remember the opening day. I think they played each other and it was a 2-2 draw. Solihull were down to 10 men. So Solihull, 2 points from Forest Green, who were flying high. That's not a bad return. What did you make of this one, Louis?
Yeah, typical away performance. Solihull sort of soaking up pressure, getting the chances from set pieces, frustrating the home side. I think Savage said in the first match they weren't quite good enough in the first half, and obviously Solihull got their opener from a set piece. Whitmore's head. I think he provided an assist for himself. I think he managed to head it on. I don't think anyone actually caught up on it, and then he managed to tuck it in. I think it's poor goalkeeping as well, because he let it in at his near post. Obviously, shout out. Obviously, Callamore Admin has sung his praises. James Clark to goal line clearance is absolutely outstanding from him. I feel like he's doing those once a game week at the moment. But yeah, I think with Forest Green, with their relentless nature, it's difficult to actually keep them out. A lovely finish from Nick Horton, puts it in the corner. Only 3 teams have stopped Forest Green scoring this year. I'm sure Craig can tell me one of them, given Braintree were one of them. Obviously, Boston and Rochdale do. I think with their attacking quality, it's they are going to score in most games. Let's be honest. Solihull got a decent record against the top sides in fairness. They obviously won away at York. They picked up 2 draws to Forest Green. They drew away at Carlisle and they beat Scunthorpe at home. They've lost to Rochdale and Southend, and they're yet to play Boreham Wood. But if they can pick up wins against those sides at the bottom and go on a bit of run against the sides around them at the bottom, then they could be playoff dark horses, because Chris Millington knows what he's doing. He's a good manager.
Definitely. I was waiting to see if the stat man said it, but he hasn't, so I'm going to say it instead. Forest Green unbeaten in the last 7 league games. Obviously, since the Carlisle defeat, and Solihull have only lost 1 in the last 7 in all comps as well. So both sides in good form. So a draw kind of makes sense. Keeps them good runs going. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, I'm just going to read some stuff out to you. Chances: Forest Green 30, Solihull 5. Corners 16-4 in Forest Green's favour. Final third phases 38-14 in Forest Green's favour. Shots in general 28-5. On target 7-1. Final score 1-1. Ultimately, the only one that matters is that final one. For me, we spoke to Robbie Savage about this, and I think Louis asked the question about him not having a number 9 that's going to get him 20-25 goals and compete with Manny D and Ollie Pearce and those kind of players. And for me, that's why they can't win the title. Games like this, you've got a Manny D, you've got an Ollie Pearce, you win the game. That's all I'm going to say on this one.
Yeah, I was pleased you said it at the end of all them stats that you read out. The only one that matters is the scoreline. I know Forest Green have this thing where they post the stats every week, but they're just selective stats. I remember the Wealdstone game a couple of weeks ago, where they conveniently left off the possession, which is one of the main stats that everyone always reads out, because Wealdstone had more possession. It's like hand-picked stats, so it's just a very weird thing that I don't understand, to be honest. You can say you played well, you can do all that, that's fine, but to just cherry pick stats and try and make yourself look good when no one other than the Forest Green fans really care either, to be honest. You just look at the scoreline. Next up, we've got Scunthorpe 3, Tamworth 1. Scunthorpe back to winning ways when we thought they were potentially maybe dropping away, and we were saying they just need to solidify in the playoff places and things like that. But big win for them over a good Tamworth side. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, a game where we all kind of favoured Tamworth or a draw. I think this was very heavily draw-based in our predictions. And that was when I reflected back on it, it was a bit crazy that we'd predicted Scunthorpe at home to not pick up any points. And then they actually come and obviously grabbed all 3. But again, it was a late show. Again, it took their time. They scored quite a calamitous own goal. And then they'd got back through Celis Fleming. And then it was a bit of a late show to get them ahead. But yeah, they've stopped that rot that we've discussed earlier. And they'll be very, very happy with that. After after being in a bit of poor form, and I maybe talk about them falling out the playoffs. They've consolidated their place in there a little bit more. And what a weekend to do it when some of the teams around you aren't playing as well, just to kind of stop the rot and get back in.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm going to try and pronounce his name. Carlton Ubazonyu,
Yeah, I
maybe.
thought about it and thought I'd leave it to you.
Ubazunu.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Could be,
Yeah.
Louis, could be. 2 goals for him. I'm sure he scored last week as well, because I remember Mark trying to say his name as well. In great form as well. So
Yeah, he scored a bicycle kick last week, didn't he? I believe.
yeah, I remember Mark trying to pronounce his name as well. So yeah, so massive credit to him as well. Good to see Scunthorpe getting back to winning ways. Tamworth again, it's, you know, if they've been Carlisle away, they've had Scunthorpe away. The games that, you know, they'd look at and they might be like, if we get maybe a point or something, we'll be happy with that. But they won't be too disheartened. They're still, you know, probably massively overachieving this season so far. Louis, what do you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, obviously Callum Roberts was back for Scunthorpe for this one, and similar to Josh Barrett for Aldershot, Roberts is crucial for Scunthorpe. I think he's their best player really, and both of Ubazunu's goals came from Roberts' play on the right hand side. Ubazunu's goals are basically tapping from all the work that Roberts did. So I think that him coming back from injury is crucial for them, and might see them uptick in form. I don't know whether either of you saw it, the 53rd minute, a blatant penalty for Scunthorpe that wasn't given, where the Tamworth player literally punches it off the line. I don't know how the linesman or the referee hasn't seen it. It is probably one of the most blatant penalties you'll ever see, and neither of them have seen it. So they're probably justice is done in that sense that Scunthorpe got the 3 points. Yeah, again, we've mentioned about perspective for Scunthorpe previously. They're now 7 points clear in a playoff place. So, you know, and as you say, their home form is really good. They've come up from the National League North. If they were in this position at the beginning of the season, people would have bitten their hands off for this. And you mentioned Tamworth. You look at Tamworth's fixture, this is horrible. They played Forest Green, Bournemouth, Rochdale, Carlisle, Scunthorpe in consecutive games, and then they got Southend next before Christmas. So only York out of the top 7 that they haven't played. So it's kind of hard to judge them on their recent form, I think. But they'd banked enough points to sort of be comfortable in mid-table, I think. And I think that's probably where they'll lie.
Yeah, I suppose when you put it like that, you know, we've said about them doing so well before that run of games, and it's like it's a good job they did do well in them run of games, because coming up to all them games, they weren't going to get much from them. So, congratulations to them for doing what they've done so far. And obviously, once Christmas is gone, they'll probably have a better run of fixtures after that as well. So I'm sure they'll be fine. And then last up on our deep dive, Hartlepool 0, Yeovil 2. The new manager curse of Hartlepool. Anyone? Obviously, Nicky Featherstone's done well in the interim basis. He's been appointed full time, and then I've been told again. This is what I've been told by Hartlepool fans and people in non-league, that this happens with Hartlepool. They do well with an interim manager, and then they appoint them full time, and it falls off a cliff. Louis, is that correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. I'll start on Hartlepool. Obviously, a poor result for them. And it's the Hartlepool circle of life, as I like to call it. He's been given the job Featherstone until the end of the season. Obviously, he's done a fantastic job over the last 4 to 6 weeks. My prediction, I think he'll be gone by the end of February. I think it's just the circle of life. It's just the way it goes with Hartlepool. If he's sacked, they'll get someone else in, probably Lenny Lawrence, as they always do. And yeah, I don't know about Hartlepool. Obviously, Craig has mentioned defenders win you championships, but when you only score an average of 1.2 goals per game, and you concede a goal in a game, you probably think that's it. We're only going to get a point maximum out of this game, which probably was the case with this one, because Yeovil took their chance early. Aaron Jarvis got his goal. He's a good striker, Aaron Jarvis. I think he just needs a bit of confidence in him. He got 15 in 37 for a Torquay side that were relegated in 22-23. And 1 goal every 3 to 4 games last year for Yeovil. So I do think he's a good striker. And in McCormick, they've got a playmaker who really could lighten things up. He had a number of chances in the first half. Yeovil probably should have extended their lead that they got. He had a 1-on-1, and then he hit the post as well, McCormick. But if Billy Rowley can get them going, then they could fly up the table. Who knows? But yeah, big win for Yeovil. But yes, it's the start of the circle of life for Hartlepool, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned McCormick there. He's been scoring a few recently, been in good form, and Yeovil have shown earlier on in the season that they can go on little runs as well. I'm sure they won 3 in a row at one point, then the form changed again, and so I think this is now back-to-back wins for them. So if they can go on a little run, like you said, they could slowly climb that table as well. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, it's a great result for Billy Rowley and his boys down at Yeovil. A big travel, obviously something that's probably new to him. We spoke about that in the last podcast, and different preparations and whatever he done seemed to work because they were the better side throughout. Really, Yeovil. The first goal was well worked, but Hartlepool were very open, and it was cut back to Jarvis. Just going back to Jarvis, Lewis, he scored before this season because
Yeah, he got a penalty against us. I think that's the only goal of the season.
I genuinely didn't know that. That wasn't.
You can hear the pain in my voice.
That guy. It's a name like you said you see occasionally on the score sheet. I just didn't remember seeing it yet this year, kind of thing. But yeah, he got a goal. It was a good cutback and a good finish from him. But yeah, McCormick's goal was special from a Yeovil perspective. He beat 2 or 3, but from a Hartlepool, some very lazy legs. As I say to my under-14s girls team, stop dangling a lazy leg and tackle properly. And they didn't do that, and then it was a good finish. But the game was already done by then, 90+4. But yeah, great result for Yeovil. Soured at the end as, obviously, I believe a fan ran on the pitch and had an altercation with a few Yeovil players. And then Jermaine Francis and I believe Morgan Williams both received their marching orders, 1 for each team. So a bit of a sour taste to finish that game. But Yeovil, I'm sure, were singing their songs on the long bus journey home and fully deserved.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Rochdale against Southend was 2-1, finished because of the waterlogged pitch, abandoned. I mean, lads, I've no words. Louis, what did you make of this?
Yeah, I didn't end up watching the highlights of this one because obviously it was abandoned. I said I can't remember if it was the last podcast or the podcast before, but York are my champions elect. I thought Rochdale would be their closest challenges, but I think their pitch is going to be their biggest problem. They can't. This can't be an issue. I know they're relaying it, and obviously they're playing this at the Hartlepool and this Rackley game at Accrington's ground. But I have more games at Accrington's ground because I think they're underestimating how long their pitch will take to relay, especially in the winter months. And yeah, I think it's just going to scupper them. It's just going to scupper their season. They're going to get to a point where they end up playing 3 games a week when everyone else is probably going to be on maybe 1 game or 2 games a week. Yeah, it's going to be a big blow for them. I just feel for the Southend fans that have got to go up to Greater Manchester for a 3rd time. Hopefully next time they go up in better conditions. But if they get 3 points from that 3rd trip, then they'll be absolutely happy with the way it's gone probably.
Yeah, just from a Southend perspective, like I said, they made the long trip up there and it got called off at the last minute last time. Then it's been abandoned this time. And you just, like for me, for Southend, like I said, maybe 3rd time lucky, they might get up there and win the game and they'll forgive it all. For me, with Rochdale, the thing, like you said, that's going to hamper them is they're going to have a lot of games to make up at some point. So if Carlisle keep winning, Forest Green keep winning, York keep winning, it's good. It's all good and well having them games in hand, but at some point you're gonna have to start playing them and winning them. And then if the pressure's on and you fall them behind, speaking just from experience in any team that's been in a title race, you'd rather have the points on the board than have the games in hand. Like any footballer, ex-footballer would have said that to us as well. So
ask Morecambe fans that as well.
Yeah.
Again, at the start of the season, going on about 3 games in hand, and they're still in the bottom 4. Yeah, points on the board are so crucial, and it's just a pressure thing at the end of the day.
Exactly, mate. Craig, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I'm not feeling too sorry for the Southend fans because I managed to watch the chaos unfold at the end, and every time the ball bounced when they threw it up, the Rochdale fans were cheering. Every time it didn't bounce and it kind of got saturated in the ground, they were cheering. So it was perfect for pantomime season up there. It seemed they were all taking it in good spirits, and they obviously were losing the game, so they were quite keen to get it called off. But that being said, if you've seen the goals they conceded, the weather definitely played a factor in both. So, yeah, definitely the right decision to abandon that game because the weather had a heavy impact on the result. But yeah, 3rd time's a charm for them, and hopefully for them it will be done, and they will get the 3 points. But yeah, it's ironic that the league and both teams used a bit of initiative because both teams were supposed to be playing different teams, but they'd progressed to the FA Cup to get this game done, and then it's got abandoned. So it all led to nothing in the end.
All that hard work for nothing. So, like I said, that's it for our deep dive. We just wanted to quickly mention on the Rochdale game as well. Predictions update, Craig. I know there wasn't many games, so we can just brush past it, mate. If you want to let us know.
Yeah, Louis, how many points did you get this week?
Big fat 0.
Yep,
But
same as
Woking
me.
going to win at Carlisle, so I'll get 5, and that'll be fine.
So me and Louis got a grand total of 0 at the moment. Mark is on 2. Dan's dad took down the podcast for the guests because we realised late Saturday that we didn't have one. So he at one stage was flying. I think at one stage he was on about 12 points. But then the results went against him and he ended up with 4. And Dan, despite only getting 1 result out of the 6, got a perfect one with his Aldershot versus Altrincham, which he hasn't told us many times, has he, Louis? How many times have you heard it this weekend? 12, 13?
I don't know, but I did poke the tiger, so to speak, by basically saying, "Oh, that's a great."
I'm pleased you said tiger. That's quite a nice animal to be compared to. I'll take that. But yeah, Louis, I put in the group chat just saying, "Oh, Aldershot's getting beat." Then Louis replied saying, "Yeah, imagine predicting them to win. Ha ha ha." and then obviously they turned it round and won. So, but yeah, that'll be my one and only correct result for the next 6 months till the end of the season, probably.
Yeah, so Dan's winning this week at the moment, but we've got Carlisle, Woking. Although I think all bar one of us have predicted a Carlisle win, so it might be the difference in scoreline that sways it one way or the other. And hopefully for me and Louis, Carlisle wins, so we don't end up on a 0 week. And we join Dan on the lowest.
I've got Woking to win.
He's got Woking to win, mate.
You got Woking to win now? Yeah, up the Cardinals.
Oh wow, I couldn't remember that. Yeah, so. Knowing our luck, Louis, it'll be a draw and neither of us will get any points.
Can I change mine to a draw? Because it's destined to happen now.
But yeah, the worst scoring week at the minute is Dan with 2. So me and Louis are trying to gradually catch that up by just getting the something in this next game. But it's not looking good for us. But good to laugh at yourselves every now and again.
I can always rely on Craig to humble me there. You know, I'm there bragging about getting this result right, and he goes, "By the way, Dan, you've got the record lowest score for the whole season. Thanks."
Yeah, and I also got about a 33-point week once, just getting that out there as well.
I'm also top of the league, so.
And right back down to earth. Yeah, so that's obviously an update on the predictions. Like I say, we're still waiting for Carlisle Woking on Wednesday. So it's my 6 in 6. So I picked 6 FA Cup games, all involving non-league teams. There's been a lot of goals, a lot of red cards, so bear with me. It may be longer than 6 minutes. I'll try and get it done for you. Try my best. Here we go. So first up, we've got Chelmsford 0, Weston-super-Mare 2. A brace from Lewis. Britain takes Weston-super-Mare into the FA Cup third round. Britain gave the away side the lead just after the hour mark, and then Chelmsford were down to 10 men with 5 minutes to go. After Taylor Clark saw red, and then 2 minutes from time, Weston-super-Mare obviously made the extra man count, got the late goal just to put the gloss on it, and Weston-super-Mare into the hat for the third round. I mean, incredible for them, incredible day out for them. Unlucky to Angelo and Chelmsford. I'm sure they'll be focusing on the league now, but I can't wait to see Weston-super-Mare get in the next round now. But massive credit to them. That was a big result. Whoever won that, it was massive for them getting into the next round. Next up, we've got Cheltenham 6, Buxton 2. If I believe right, me and Louis had Buxton for an upset in this one. I mean, it looked like it was on. Obviously, Buxton took an early lead. Cheltenham pegged them back. Then right on half-time, Buxton regained the lead. And then you look and you go, this is on. And then I looked at the stats, seen the highlights. Cheltenham absolutely battered them second half. Like, I don't think Buxton had a shot second half. I think Cheltenham had 11 shots on target in the second half, something crazy like that. Goals from Jordan Thomas with 2, Hutchinson with another, and Robbie Cundy, like I say, just absolutely blew them away in the end. But it's like that when the Football League teams play the non-league sides, the fitness levels, playing, professional, it's just a totally different level. So credit to Cheltenham, unlucky to Buxton, but they gave it a good go. Credit to them. Next up, sadly for Louis, we've got Sutton 1, Shrewsbury 2. It felt like Sutton missed out. They played well, took the lead. Kai Jennings, I think, was it 70 minutes he got the goal. It looked destined to happen. Then right on the 90th minute, Ishmael Kabir, I hope I said that right, got the late equaliser. That was after Josh Ruffles had been sent off as well, so they were down to 10 men. So credit to Shrewsbury for, battling on with 10 men. But Sutton, in my opinion, could have been out of sight by that point. And then once it went into extra time, I know, they were down to 10 men, but you just always think, the fitness levels and things like that, it could always be different. So, and then it was literally like 2 minutes into extra time. John Marquis got the goal to give Shrewsbury the lead. And then after that, Sutton huffed and puffed, but they didn't really test the keeper too much, and it was, you could see they were trying, but I think they were deflated with the manner of the late goal and the early extra time goal. And like I say, Shrewsbury, I would say, were probably comfortable towards the end. And then Junior Eccleston got sent off for Sutton, but again, I don't really know what it was for. I know me and Louis had a conversation. We still didn't quite understand what it was for. But again, it was just disappointing because I think Sutton are in great form. They'll be fine in the league, things like that. I think that it was an opportunity missed. So it was unlucky for them. But credit to Shrewsbury because they've not been great this season and they've battled on there with 10 men and got a result. Then on to Sunday's games. We've got Slough 1, Macclesfield 3. Taylor 2 penalties in the second half. Danny Elliott got the opener for Macclesfield after a red card for, again, apologies, Kiki Oshalaja, potentially. And then 5 minutes from time, Slough got their penalty and Victor Makowski slotted home. Then in extra time, one of the best goals I've seen in a long time, James Edmondson, absolute worldie. Top corner for Macclesfield. I know Mark was absolutely loving that one. He posted a few things in the group chat. And again, it was, against 10 men. So Macclesfield were just kind of seeing out the game. Then late on, they just put the gloss on it with a great finish from Regan Griffiths, who came on. I think he was more to shoot it up, but he ended up with a great strike to make it 3-1. So massive credit to Macclesfield, and Mark will be absolutely buzzing with that. We'll hope you get a good draw, Mark. It's a shame you're not here to talk about it yourself because I'm sure you would have loved to. Next up, we've got Boreham Wood 3, Newport 0. On paper, because of the division difference, I would say an upset, but it's not an upset. Everyone knew Boreham Wood were going to win. Newport, I know Louis said in the group chat earlier, and obviously I mentioned it as well, that they started not too bad. Like they were passing it about, but they just didn't look like they were going to score. They didn't have that killer pass. And then as soon as Boreham Wood got the first goal, Jeff King got the opener and the hedge dropped and they just fell to pieces. The second goal was Regan Booty. Ball came across the right back for Newport, whose name escapes me, just watched his man run absolutely right past him, right through the middle of the defence. Nobody tried to stop him, and Regan Booty had the easiest tapping of them all. It was just criminal defending, in my opinion. And again, there it was just a hedge drop. Newport offered nothing, and then the second half, Boreham Wood were just probably the most comfortable you'll see a football team in a game. Just playing it around, they were rotating. Took Abdul Malikoff to rest him and things like that against a team from a division higher, which is, when you think that shows how far Boreham would have come. Then they got the third goal, which was just Matt Rush with a great finish. But again, I would say the keeper was questionable near post. I know he was a bit out of position, but again, just defending questionable. Keeper was questionable. I worry for Newport, but again, it's not a League Two podcast, but we might be talking about them next season, lads, I think. Boreham Wood, massive credit to them, and whoever draws them in the next round, good luck, because they are absolutely flying and they're one of the best teams that I've seen this season. All round, defensively, going forward, midfield, can't speak highly enough of them. And then last up, I don't really want to talk about it, but we will. Blackpool 4, Carlisle 1. Lads. Carlisle, they started well, played the ball around, made some good runs, but as soon as Blackpool got that first goal, it was like the York game all over again, just heads dropped. We were creating chances, to be fair. Peacock Farrell in goal made 2 great saves from Con Clark, and I think the other was from Adjaboy. And then I think Aaron Hayden missed from like 1 yard out. I don't even know how he missed. But Blackpool, massive credit to them. They were clinical. They probably had maybe 5 clear-cut chances in the game, and they scored 4 of them. 2 of them were absolutely outstanding finishes. Fletcher's first goal was a great finish. The Banks, the left-footed curler. I'm being ultra critical because of my team. Harper and Gilead have to stop that from happening. You can't be letting them turn in on the left foot and curling shots in the corner. the runs from midfield was non-existent. Defence was weak with no Morgan Feeney. There was a lot to worry about there. I'm hoping Morgan Feeney's not out long. Con Clark went off injured as well. Hopefully that's not too bad either. So it was a bit of a bad day at the office, but credit to Blackpool. The keeper played well. Fletcher up front, blocks them up front. Banks, they were just better all over the field really. So massive credit to them, and a nice distraction for them because they've been in poor form in League One. That was probably longer than 6 minutes, lads. So I apologise, but I tried to get through it as much as possible. But there was a lot happened. I tried.
Sprinkle
So
the
next
magic
up,
of the FA Cup in the extra 2 minutes is fine. We can live with that.
yeah, exactly. Got to give credit where credit's due. I tried to give as much credit to Boreham Wood as possible because I was very impressed with them. So next up, we've got our monthly awards. That again, before you come at us, you guys vote for them. We just nominate people, but the public viewers, they vote, not us. So if you're not happy with the outcome, don't blame us. Craig, are you wanting to read this out, or Louis?
Yeah, I'm on this one today, I believe. So yeah, just on Dan's, I'll come to the manager and the players. They're the two that you guys vote for. We just put the nominees. We had 1,063 votes. So there's 1,063 people to blame, not just the four of us that are on here each week. If you don't like the outcomes, we do pick the team and we do pick the goal. Sometimes we put the goals out there. We all had to nominate one, and we all nominated the same one this month. So we didn't put that one out there. And I'll hand to Louis to announce this one because it's from a Sutton player, Louis.
Yeah, it's Lewis Simper's delicious strike against Gateshead. Yeah, I don't think there's any competition. As you said, we all nominated it. Picks it up on the right hand side, just curls it into the top corner. Absolutely, piece of cake it was for him, and yeah, well deserved.
Absolutely. We then moved on to the team of the month. Now we look at the team of the weeks that we've put in every week, which obviously everyone gets to nominate on the social media. Callum usually puts out a post about half hour after the 5:30 game. So if you're ever wanting to put a vote in, that's the time to look on our social medias. About 8 o'clock on a Saturday to get your vote in. But we tend to run it for about 15, 16 hours. We usually do it about midday to 3 o'clock on the Sunday. So you get your votes in on there each week. But we've gone for team of the month in goal. We've gone Baptiste from Wealdstone. In our back three, we've gone Clark, Solihull Moors, Akoli from Woking, and Eccleston from Sutton. All three teams that have probably seen an uphill rise in their form, and probably due to the defensive foundations they've built in there as much as anything. In midfield, we've got Zach Brunt, Brunt from Boreham Wood, McAdam from Carlisle, Campbell from Hartlepool, and Simper from Sutton. And our front three is double York. It's Stones and Pearce, joined by Kyle McAllister from Forest Green. So I think 6 different teams in the 11, which is always a good sign that it's been a good month. And we've talked about seven or eight good. I nearly said 6, 7 there. 7 or 8 teams having a good month, and maybe 5 or 6 down the bottom not having such a good month. So that why there's nice spread on there. Manager of the month and player of the month though are won by the same team. And a reminder that's from that 1,063 people that have voted. Stuart Maynard is our manager of the month. He got 73.1% of the votes. So a landslide victory there. Beating in second place, the Sutton manager, Chris Egerter. Mark Hughes in second and Sam Cox in third, I believe. Mark Hughes in third, Sam Cox in fourth. I'll get that out there eventually correctly. A landslide in the victory for Josh Stones as well, but not as clear-cut. He got 59.2% of the votes, with Zach Brunt sitting in second place with 19.7%. Kyle McAllister took fourth place, so Ollie Pearce was in third with 13.8%. So yeah, 4 excellent players, 4 excellent managers, and of course all 4 of those players have then featured in the team of the month. As if we nominate them for player of the month, they should really be in team of the month, which they all were. December will be an interesting month because obviously some teams' first league game isn't until about the 20th of the month. So be a very interesting month where 3 wins out of 3 could get you it. So at the minute, Billy Rowley is probably manager of the month for me for December. I'm going out there early on that one, but we'll see. Plenty of time. It's not Ashvir Singh Johal, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about December the 20th there. I mean, you mentioned Ash as well. I think if Ash is still in the job by 20th of December, I'll be very surprised. But yeah, that's it from us.
Just
Go on,
pointing
mate.
on next week, it's obviously talking about Morecambe. It's Morecambe Gateshead next week in the FA Trophy. That we've used the term before. That's going to be two toppers having a fight. That's going to be an awful game. So yeah, good luck to both of them. But I wouldn't want to pay to watch that game. It's going to be 4-4 now. I said that.
If Gateshead are away from home though, or they're at home, aren't they?
It's
Because
at
beat them.
Gateshead.
Oh yeah. If Gateshead will they'll be saving themselves for Boxing Day when Carlisle come to town. That's what they'll be doing. Because it's like when I say about the Morecambe manager losing his job. If he doesn't want to lose it till maybe January, that'd be all right because we play them in December. So they come up here on the 30th of December. So if he wants to stay till then, I'll be happy with that. But yeah, that's it from us, anyways. That's our monthly awards, deep dive, FA Cup review. Mentioned John Coleman's interview as well. If you want to head over and watch that as well, because that was really good. We've got some exciting guests this week as well. I won't divulge too much, but managers in the National League will be on here with us this week. So keep your eyes peeled on our social media for that as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well so we can keep getting these exciting guests and these managers, players, get these people on the podcast and ask them your questions. Thanks to Craig for battling through his cold. Much appreciated. And thanks to Louis as well. And Mark, we'll see you soon, mate. Be good to, we missed you this week, but it'd be good to have you back. Take care, everyone.